Let's talk about General Conference, okay? Because it's coming up in, 2 weeks now? The Book of Mormon has one of the best chapters I've ever seen about preparing for General Conference. Remember King Benjamin, the guy that got on the big tower and then spoke to the people and they all had this amazing conversion?
Yea, my brethren.
Well, all of us can experience that every General Conference, and we've got one coming up. So let's see what the people in the Book of Mormon did to prepare for King Benjamin's speech. Now remember, King Benjamin is getting ready to die, and so he sent his son to go get all the people together. He wants to talk to him before he dies. So let's look at Mosiah chapter 2, verse 1. And it came to pass that after Mosiah had done as his father commanded him, and had made a proclamation throughout all the land that the people should gather themselves together throughout all the land, that they might go to the temple to hear the words which King Benjamin should speak unto them. So what was the first thing they did? They showed up. They were there. They came to listen. They're not lazing around on the Saturday and Sunday and saying, I'll just wait till it comes out in the ensign. They were there. Now that's not to say that you have to be at the conference center at the time of General Conference, but sit in front of your TV, watch it. If you don't have a TV or TV access, listen to it on the radio and sit and listen. Take notes. The second thing they did, verse 3, and they took of the firstlings of their flocks that they might offer sacrifice and burnt offerings. Now obviously we don't make animal sacrifice anymore. But what did the Lord ask us to do to replace animal sacrifice? A broken heart and a contrite spirit. So approach General Conference with humility, with a prayerful, repentant attitude. And I promise it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Because when the brethren ask you to change, you're going to do it. The next thing's in verse 4. And also that they might give thanks to the Lord their God. If you want to approach General Conference with the right attitude, just try having some gratitude. It does wonders. Have you ever heard that gratitude is the seed of all righteous desire? Well, it's true. And if you approach General Conference with the spirit of gratitude, you're going to be ready to learn. And you'll see a huge difference. Verse 5. And it came to pass that when they came to the temple, they pitched their tents round about, every man according to his family, consisting of his wife, his sons, and his daughters, and their sons and their daughters, from the eldest down to the youngest, every family being separate one from another. Make General Conference a family affair. And be sure to include everybody. And don't shush people when they interrupt with things relating to the talk. They're likening the scriptures. They're likening the words of the prophets. That's what they're supposed to do. Experiencing General Conference together brings a family closer and builds everyone up and reminds us that the Savior is a member of the family. Verse 6, and they pitched their tents round about the temple, every man having his tent with the door thereof towards the temple. Wherever you're watching General Conference, face the TV. Actually listen to the radio. Have your chair at least point toward the computer where everything's happening. Not only will it send a subconscious message to your brain that this really is important, people will see that you want to be listening. They won't be as likely to interrupt. And I understand it's tempting to be cleaning out your garage during General Conference, and if you've got to, well, whatever. But if you can avoid it, you'll have all year to do that. General Conference is special. If you're doing something else while listening, there's a good chance you're going to get distracted. Now that's not to say you can't be quilting, drawing a picture, working on something crafty, or any number of other things that'll help you pay attention and listen and keep in the room where you're going to hear what's being said. But the idea is to be involved and be attentive. Verse 8, he caused that the words which he spake should be written and sent forth among those that were not under the sound of his voice, that they might also receive his word. In other words, take notes. It's amazing how much more you can get out of a meeting when you're writing down the things said. Or even more importantly, the things that the Spirit tells you as you listen. Now this has never been easier in all the history of the world because we have tools today like no other. You can be texting your notes during conference. You can be tweeting. And yes, I suppose you could be on Facebook as long as you're Facebooking conference. Just think what a great missionary tool that can be. Just be careful so you don't get distracted and start playing Angry Birds while you're supposed to be watching conference. And also, of course, when the ensign comes, read it, reread it, reread it. Keep reading it. Because in every stage of your life, you're going to get new messages out of everything. Different talks are going to speak to different aspects of your life. Hear that? No Angry Birds! Oh! So try reading Mosiah 2 one more time before General Conference and really think about it. Of course, I understand there's going to be some of you who absolutely have to work that day, but that's another reason that these tools that we have today are so great. You can listen to them later. You can watch them later. And you can read them later. In fact, you really don't have to wait for the end sign. They show up on the internet within a couple of days. And the videos are available immediately. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Chaz Hathaway, author of Marriage is Ordained of God, but Who Came Up with Dating? A humorous guide to help you succeed at dating, and Giraffe Tracks, the inspiring true story of a missionary in post-apartheid South Africa. And unfortunately, I don't have an updated copy on hand, but just pretend. Join us again next time for another episode of Gospel Living Made Awesome!